Evan Miller believed he was producing the next great rescue show, but viewers had no idea that behind his cameras, real tragedies were being dissected like storyboards, while victims like Lily Hartman were reduced to nothing more than content potential. 911 Nashville began as a bold project marketed as a groundbreaking emergency response series. It promised viewers a raw, unfiltered look at real crises unfolding in real time. From its very first trailer, the show built excitement by using intense footage of flashing lights, rushing ambulances, and dramatic narration about saving lives. Online trailers went viral, sparking curiosity and praise from audiences who believed they were about to witness genuine heroism. The show's creators positioned it as a tribute to first responders, claiming every episode was based on live dispatch calls and authentic medical emergencies from Nashville. People were drawn to its emotional tone, believing they were seeing true events captured in the heat of the moment. Within weeks of its release, clips from the show spread across social media, drawing millions of views and turning the production into an overnight sensation. The success was immediate. Influencers posted reaction videos praising the intense scenes. Comment sections filled with emotional responses from viewers who said the show opened their eyes to the realities of emergency workers. With so much attention, the production company quickly expanded marketing efforts, releasing behind-the-scenes interviews that hinted at a passionate crew dedicated to truthful storytelling. What the audience did not realize was how carefully controlled every visual and every moment was. The show presented itself as a documentary, but it operated more like a high-budget drama, using cinematic angles, scripted narration, and carefully edited sequences designed to maximize shock and suspense. It blurred the line between factual reporting and entertainment, creating a product that looked genuine but was shaped with precision to manipulate emotions. As episodes continued to air, fans became deeply invested in the series. Online forums began to track every emergency shown, with viewers trying to identify real locations and speculate about the outcomes of the injured individuals featured. The show's popularity placed it among top streamed programs, earning sponsorship deals and high ratings. To many, 911 Nashville felt more authentic than any other emergency-based show ever released. It had a polished look but claimed to keep its soul rooted in truth. That claim, repeated in every promotional segment, became the core reason people trusted it. Yet beneath the surface, the production team maintained strict secrecy about how footage was obtained, where it was recorded, and whether any official agencies had approved its content. The excitement around the show continued to grow, but so did the foundation of doubt that would later threaten everything it built. As more episodes aired, subtle details began to unsettle some viewers who paid close attention. Certain scenes felt too polished, as if they had been rehearsed. The camera angles were always perfectly placed, capturing dramatic expressions at just the right moment. Ambulances seemed to arrive exactly on cue, and emergency workers never appeared surprised by the presence of a full production team. Locals from Nashville started recognizing the same streets and buildings appearing repeatedly, even though the show claimed to cover emergencies from all over the city. Some residents reported that on the days certain incidents supposedly took place, the neighborhoods were completely quiet with no sign of chaos or rescue teams. Online discussions shifted from excitement to suspicion. Independent bloggers compared frames from different episodes and discovered that certain extras appeared more than once, playing different roles each time. In one episode, a woman acted as a worried witness, and in another, she was shown as a victim being loaded into an ambulance. Viewers began asking how a documentary could reuse people in such major roles without any explanation. The show's social media pages attempted to dismiss these comments, insisting that coincidences were being blown out of proportion. Fans who questioned the production were often met with vague responses or silence. Despite rising questions, the show continued unlocking new audience milestones. Yet, a portion of viewers started investigating deeper, looking into local news archives and police reports to match the emergencies featured on screen. They found nothing. No official record mentioned the high-profile accidents, fires, or medical calls that the show claimed to cover. Even more concerning, actual emergency dispatch logs showed no activity matching the dramatic timelines presented in certain episodes. Real first responders from Nashville began to distance themselves publicly, stating that their departments were not officially involved in any television production of this kind. The more people questioned the authenticity of the show, the more the production team tightened its public image. They released promotional material emphasizing their supposed respect for real-life heroes, hoping to shift attention away from growing doubts. However, skepticism had already taken root. What was once praised as a powerful tribute to emergency workers slowly began to look like a carefully crafted performance disguised as truth. The audience had believed every second, but now a quiet realization began spreading. Something about 911 Nashville was not just exaggerated, it might be entirely manufactured. The turning point came when a former crew member, using an anonymous account, posted a detailed message claiming that 911 Nashville was never intended to be a real documentary. According to the leak, the production used staged scenarios based on old public records, not active emergencies. Scenes were planned in advance, with actors briefed to react in exaggerated ways to heighten emotional impact. Instead of following real dispatch calls, the team monitored archived cases and recreated them with heavy editing to make them appear current. This anonymous insider explained that real emergency channels were used only to capture background audio for realism, while the events shown on screen were rehearsed multiple times to get the most dramatic reactions possible. Behind the scenes, strict rules were enforced. Crew members were instructed to never mention staging in any recorded material. Contracts included clauses that threatened legal action if anyone revealed how episodes were actually produced. Extras were rotated through different costumes and makeup to disguise repeat appearances. In some cases, the same individual portrayed both a witness and a responder in separate segments. To make the footage appear chaotic and real, filters were applied to simulate shaky camera movement and emergency lighting, even when no real vehicles were present during filming. The insider also revealed a disturbing practice. To create a sense of urgency, fake emergency calls were placed to dispatch centers with vague reports. These calls were carefully worded so they would not trigger a full response, but would be enough to log a brief entry that the production could later refer to as evidence of authenticity. This manipulation caused confusion among real emergency teams, who found traces of activity in their systems but no real incident upon arrival. These wasted minutes could have been used to respond to genuine calls. The production team considered this an acceptable risk for the sake of realism. The revelation quickly spread across online communities, with users compiling screenshots and side-by-side comparisons of repeated actors and reused locations. Some viewers felt shocked, while others claimed they always suspected something was off. Still, the majority had no idea how deep the deception went. The show had not simply dramatized real events, it had blurred reality and fiction so effectively that people could no longer tell the difference. This marked the beginning of a public reckoning, but the most unsettling truths had not yet surfaced. The public reaction shifted rapidly from curiosity to outrage as more evidence surfaced. Families who had experienced real tragedies recognized distorted versions of their personal losses being turned into entertainment on the show. Specific details such as street names, dates, and even background landmarks matched incidents that had occurred years earlier, yet the show presented them as recent and unsolved. Relatives expressed anger that their pain had been repackaged without consent, edited to fit dramatic arcs that never happened. This personal connection to real suffering made the controversy impossible to ignore, pushing news outlets to investigate further. Sponsors that once proudly supported the show began distancing themselves as accusations grew louder. Companies issued statements claiming they were unaware of the production's methods and paused all advertising links to 911 Nashville. Streaming platforms quietly removed older episodes from their recommended sections, reducing visibility while waiting to see how the situation developed. Online, viewers who once defended the show began expressing regret for praising it so highly without asking questions. Public opinion shifted sharply, and social media posts from former fans turned into open criticism. They felt manipulated, not only by the false staging but by the emotional tactics used to gain views. Investigators obtained access to internal files from the production team. What they found was a private database listing real historical cases, with notes on which ones could be turned into episodes. Each case was ranked based on emotional potential rather than relevance or respect for actual victims. Some entries included comments about which tragedies would generate the highest audience reaction. The goal was not to inform but to provoke, using grief as a tool to maintain viewer engagement. Analysts discovered that dramatic music, slow-motion edits, and fabricated medical outcomes were all applied intentionally to shape a more sensational narrative, completely detached from the original events. Emergency service workers publicly condemned the show, stating that the constant association of their profession with fake drama created unrealistic expectations about real rescue procedures. They reported that some members of the public, influenced by what they saw on screen, had begun interfering with active emergency scenes, believing they were being filmed for television. This crossover between entertainment and reality highlighted the dangerous consequences of broadcasting staged emergencies as truth. What began as a so-called tribute had transformed into a reckless form of storytelling that disrespected both professionals and victims alike. The damage was spreading beyond television screens, affecting real lives in unexpected ways. The final blow to the show's reputation came when investigators released a report exposing a file labeled high-impact case candidates, found in the production archive. This file listed real incidents involving families and victims, categorized based on how emotionally intense they could appear on screen. Each case was given a rating for drama, potential, audience retention, value, and viral capacity. Instead of treating these records with respect, they were discussed as material to be shaped into entertainment. The discovery confirmed that the production had never intended to inform viewers, but rather to exploit real suffering for dramatic storytelling. Public outrage intensified when it became clear that none of the families involved had been contacted, nor were they aware their tragedies were being evaluated for possible reenactment. Legal teams representing victims' relatives came forward, stating that personal grief had been turned into a checklist for television success. The production notes showed no concern for accuracy, permission, or emotional impact on those directly affected. Instead, the focus was on which camera techniques could enhance shock and how editing could stretch short events into longer sequences to keep viewers engaged. Authorities revealed that deleted footage and emails had been recovered, showing discussions about altering timelines and exaggerating outcomes to make incidents appear more severe than they were. In some cases, outcomes were changed entirely, turning survivable situations into fatal ones purely for dramatic effect. This level of manipulation blurred the line between fiction and reality so heavily that even some crew members admitted they started forgetting what had truly happened during filming. The fallout spread far beyond the show itself. Media experts called it a defining moment in the debate about ethics in entertainment. Viewers who once believed they were witnessing acts of bravery realized they had been watching carefully curated fiction presented as truth. Emergency workers reported a rise in unrealistic expectations from the public, influenced by what they had seen on screen. Some people even questioned real rescue efforts, assuming cameras should be present or expecting dramatic outcomes like those shown by the production. In the end, 911 Nashville became remembered not for its success but for the controversy it created. It stood as an example of how easily trust could be broken when entertainment crosses into exploitation. The show's rise had been fast and impressive, but its collapse was even faster, leaving behind a powerful reminder that not everything labeled as real is truthful, and not every story told in the name of awareness is made with respect for those who lived it.